What's up, everybody? Welcome. It's House Divided here on Orange Bloods Live. I'm Jeff Ketchum. That is the sexy man himself, Chad Hastings. You can follow him on Twitter at CHastingsOBL. I'm at GK Ketch if you're into those types of things. Do us a solid like, comment, subscribe to the page. We're going to be talking a ton of Texas football recruiting today. In fact, this may be the nerdiest football recruiting discussion that you're going to hear all week. We're actually quite proud of it.
That says a lot.
I'm telling you, Chad, wait till you see where I'm about to lead off with a question I have not prepared you for.
Okay.
And it's just going to lead us down the rabbit hole.
All right.
Everybody enter the specs chat away, chat. We will take your super chats. So know that we're looking for them. If you want to give us a little 10 spot here, a little 20 spot there, a little hundo here, we'll take all of them. Don't make us stop the show for $1.99. Like, have some respect on what we're asking for here. So, Chad, last 24 hours, both ESPN and On3 came out with their final recruiting rankings. And I don't know that On3 is completely done. They may have just done their 5 stars, but for the sake of conversation, I think we're okay to move forward. And because we've been having this super blue chip conversation, and one of the things that I'd mentioned really at the beginning of the week was that Rivals was the only one that had final rankings in. So it would be interesting for all of the Texas has the number 1 recruiting class in the country and this many 5 stars. And well, hold on. There is the evaluation from the All-Star games and the practices at the All-Star games and senior film. And like, it just kind of goes on and on and on. Well, so today On3 released their final, I think so far they've just released their 5-star rankings, but I can probably do a pretty easy job of forecasting what comes next in terms of the rest of the super blue chip numbers as their rankings come out. Name, this is pop quiz time, okay?
Okay.
Name the players in this Texas recruiting class, the number 1 class in the country. Name the players in this Texas recruiting class that Texas signed that were named as 5 stars by Rivals, 24/7, ESPN, and On3. So this would be unanimous. The unanimous 5 stars in this recruiting class are?
Can I ask how many there are?
No.
Okay. Unanimous 5 stars in this class.
Would you like me to name the super blue chips that Rivals? Like, do you want me to name the consensus super blue chips?
No, that's all right. That's all right. I'll let me guess. I'm gonna say there are 2, and I'm gonna say Jonah Williams is 1. And the other name's not popping into my head. That's my guess. That's my starter guess.
Brandon A. throws out Justice Terry.
Justice Terry. That could have been a good guess. Let's go Justice Terry, Jonah Williams, both on the defensive side. Damn it.
The answer is 0.
None?
On3 has turned into, and look, I don't know. There's no data yet for me to sort through to say whether or not they're good or bad, but they've become known as the wild card network, where sometimes they will zig left when everybody else is zigging right. For instance, they didn't have Anthony Hill ranked as a 5-star a couple of years ago. Everybody else had him as basically a top 10 player in the country. They were like, nah, high 4-star. Now, for the sake of like what I do, that doesn't matter, right? High 4-star and a 5-star, I typically, for the sake of simple math, I keep them together. On3 today only named 2 Longhorns among their final group of 5-star prospects. Number 1, Lance Jackson, who ends up being a 5-star by every service except for for ESPN, which
Okay.
had him ranked in like the 60s. And then Cade Phillips, who we've been talking about all week as, I don't know that Texas fans in actuality are treating this guy the way internally they're treating him. I ranked him as a 5-star. Rivals did not. But I was saying, when they were going for their big heist around the first signing day, it was Cade Phillips, it was Michael Fasusi, it was Justice Terry. They wanted to get all three. They got 2 of the 3. I think there were some Texas fans that just kind of thought to themselves, it's all about Justice Terry. One of the things that we've talked about all week long, Cade Phillips has been a buzzword on this show all week long. And I mentioned that this is a guy that internally Texas thinks is as good as anybody they signed. Well, he ends up being a 5-star, 4-on-3. He ends up being a super blue chip, and possibly I would need to go back and look. I didn't designate 5 stars and guys that weren't 5 stars, but he ends up being a 3 service guy. And Texas ends up with no unanimous 5 stars because on-3 swerved a little bit with Jonah Williams, which I'm stunned. I'm stunned because I actually have made the case that Jonah Williams is a 6-star. Like I think he's that incredible. I know the baseball thing looms potentially.
Yeah. Well, that's why I mentioned. So how far so he fell in the final?
Yes, I have not seen where Jonah ends up landing because I've only seen their 5 stars so far.
Wow. And he's not in there?
He's not.
Okay.
Looked at the damn thing 10 times, Chad. Like, no, they put the wrong school decal next to his name.
Right.
I did everything. I tried.
Damn. Okay. I thought that was going to be an easy part of the guess for me.
Justice Terry is also a 5-star by everybody. He doesn't make on-3's final list of 5 stars. Again, this is a recruiting company that sometimes zigs when everybody else zags. They haven't been around long enough to say defiantly that it works one way or the other. I think I've always kind of understood why they do it, because the only way that you can separate yourself from the pack if you're a newbie is to be different from the pack. So if you have a bunch of different guys as 5 stars and you're right, well, then you get to say we were different than everybody else. We're the best. And I think they go out of their way to have rankings that just simply differ from the rest of but let me tell you on-3's trick. And to me, and look, they're perfectly fine as a company. I'm not one of these guys that sits around and says, Rivals good, everybody else bad. But the next time Jonah Williams pops up as a source of conversation, they will promote their consensus on-3 rankings, which basically all of the other services rank him as a 5-star. So he's a consensus 5-star. So when they promote him, they won't promote their true ranking of the guy. They'll lean in on the fact that from a composite standpoint, he's a 5-star. I think it's a little misleading. If I said I call somebody a 5-star and then you looked at my rankings and a guy wasn't a 5-star and I was like, no, but I'm counting Billy Lucci's rankings. It's a composite of us guys. That's Lucci's ranking. I'm including Luch. If you don't tell people that, anyway, just a nitpick, because it's really not like on my things to really go into today. But it's interesting that when it's all said and done, the rankings, at least with the 5 stars, are now done by my count. And this could be off slightly. I don't think it's going to be. The Longhorns have 11 players in their class. I haven't told you maybe the most exciting thing. So I'll just say this. The Longhorns have 11 players in their class. And I need to go back and look at this because Bo Barnes, they moved up to a 5-star, the linebacker. They become the only recruiting service that has Bo Barnes listed as a super blue chip, and they've got him ranked as a 5-star. There you go. I think that's my interesting tidbit of the day. Bo Barnes moving up into the group of 5 stars. They've got to have. I'm literally looking at something's got to be wrong here. Let me figure this out. Okay, I take it all back. Texas has 3, and they rank Bo Barnes 32nd. So On 3 has Texas with 3 5-stars. Sorry, I was looking at their tweet, and they had it cut off at 29, and Jonah Williams is 15th. I take it all back, Chad. Okay. I'm an idiot.
Okay. All right.
If you look at their tweet, it's cut off at like 14.
Okay.
And I just didn't see the hidden names.
Okay.
Now I just feel like a goddamn idiot. You know what? Throw tomatoes at. I have a Muppets shirt on today. Throw tomatoes at me. I'm officially Fozzie the Bear. So Jonah Williams becomes the only unanimous 5-star of all of the Texas commitments. There is one. And there are 11 players in this recruiting class now that have some sort of super blue chip status. And both Jackson and Phillips fall into the category of 3 different services rank them as either a 5-star or a super blue chip.
And what about Justice Terry, just to clean
No
that
Justice Terry.
Okay. Still no Justice Terry.
I understand why you would doubt me at this point.
No. Just double checking.
No Khalid Lockett either, which is interesting because Khalid Lockett really impressed. The one thing that almost all of the services have said was that Khalid Lockett was so good in practices that it either made him a 5-star or kind of cemented his status. Now, the thing about Khalid Lockett that is a little bit different is that On 3 hasn't had him ranked as a super blue chip ever. So coming into those bowl workouts, they didn't have him rated that high. And it remains to be seen because I haven't seen what the rest of their 4-star rankings look like, where Lockett ends up. If On 3 puts him into their super blue chip count, which he hasn't been in the past, then he would become a unanimous super blue chip, if not a unanimous 5-star.
By the way, Rex says you're a little more Rolf the dog than Fozzie to him. A little more. Both comedians in their own right. Both just depends on if you're a piano comedian or I always love Rolf the dog. Half a basketball, by the way. It's how they made Rolf the dog the first time. Do you know that?
I did not know that.
Cut a basketball in half. That's how they made that head. There you have it. All right. So then, and we have somebody jumping in here. Blake says, I think they got Barnes right. He's a stud. Ketch, do you agree with that high of a ranking for Bo Barnes?
I understand it. I rank Bo Barnes as a super blue chip, and I've got him kind of in a borderline area of at the back end of the 5-stars, the very high end of the 4-stars. So, that's kind of where On 3 puts Barnes. He's the last 5-star, if I'm looking at the tweet correctly. Yeah, he's number 32. And, I wouldn't quibble with that much. I don't know. I'm close. I'm so close. As someone that doesn't make a huge effort to differentiate the 5-stars, because there really is, when we look at the 5-stars, there really is a difference between the top 5 and 10 than there are the rest of the 5-stars. So there really is like an area of 6 stars that a guy is either in or he's not. And those are really the true difference makers of difference makers. DeCorian Moore is a 6-star. I think Jonah Williams would, for me, qualify in that territory. I wouldn't put Bo Barnes quite that high, but like he's in the pile right behind that. And then kind of comes down to like what order you want to put them in. And, it's possible that for On 3, they have they wanted to name 32 5-stars. It's possible that there were 27 or 28 that they felt like these are really our 5-stars, but we want to fill this out to 32. who were some guys that we can put in at the bottom that nobody else has? And that might have been how Barnes sneaks in. I mean, again, I don't know that it's a terrible strategy. It's at least one that I can understand, like from a business perspective of like, why are you doing this? Well, because in 5 or 10 years, what you don't want to have everybody say is that your rankings are just like rivals in 24/7, which the composites kind of create because it's a mixture of all those things together. But yeah, man, Bo Barnes is great. I think I like On3's ranking more than I like everybody else not having him as a super blue chip. You're talking about a guy, a linebacker with 10.96 100-meter speed. If nothing else, he gets a flat out like 5-star grade in terms of that. And, it's kind of like my Marquise Goodwin rule. If you got a guy who's getting a 5, like maxing out at a 10 on a 10-point scale on a really important physical trait like speed, you probably shouldn't have that guy ranked with like regular people. So yeah, I like the ranking on Barnes. It's close. It's in the ballpark of where I would have it.
Blake, thank you for that chat. We had a couple more chats on the subject. If you want to throw us a super chat, we will get right to it. By the way, I see 450 of you already in the Specs chat.
Hope you missed the first 10 minutes.
No, it was excellent. The start was excellent. It was awesome, just like all the stuff they've got at Specs. Here's Lisa.
As a Texas family-owned business, we know you don't mess with Texas. And you won't find more ways to raise a glass of Texas-made cheer than right here. So whatever you're planning, we're ready to get you ready.
Yeah, maybe
Lisa!
Maybe you should have started drinking before the show, Catch. Maybe that was the key.
Who says I didn't?
That's right. That's a good point. We got
Let me tell you, Chad, there's no Jonah. There's no Jonah. What were they thinking? What's that? Expand the list? Or all of the? Oh, there he is, Chad. My bad.
The weirdest thing going through my head was like, okay. And I had those two names in my head, and I just couldn't come up with Justice Terry for some reason.
You see how shocked I was when I thought Jonah Williams wasn't on that list? I was like, what?
Because I pulled a list up, and it was obviously not brand new, but I pulled a list up where it was an On3 list, and he was like 7. And I went, wait a minute.
Well, that's their old ranking, though. He's not 7 now.
Right. I know. But I was just thinking to myself, wait a second. He went from 7 to drop all the way out of the 5-star discussion. Like, that's a wild move, But yeah, so
had he been 7, I would have seen that on the original.
It would have been on the original thing. Yeah, exactly. So catch to the Cade Phillips discussion. Vivek throws this in. Catch, in your opinion, is Cade Phillips as good as Kobe Black?
I think he's a better prospect than Kobe Black. I think he's slightly more explosive as an athlete than Kobe Black. So if you were to ask, yeah. I mean, I don't want to get into like all of the reasons why Kobe Black didn't. I mean, for me, Kobe was a borderline 5-star. I think I ended up grading. So this is really about like very slight preferences, but I think Cade Phillips is just a slightly more spectacular, explosive athlete. And I think they're both going to be fantastic players.
Okay. And just for the record, also like Kobe Black, this is a straight up cornerback to you in college.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Right. In fact, I mean, that's one of the reasons why he was so important. They didn't have anybody at the corner position in this class like that. And look, the thing about Cade Phillips is he really came along as a senior. If you knew he was pretty spectacular as an athlete, which is why, I had him rated as like a mid 4-star. The play on the field didn't quite match what the kid in the uniform looked like. And then as a senior, he was spectacular. Like, it was one of those things where the play on the field started to match what the athlete is inside the uniform. And he was sensational. Like, I can't stress enough that Texas went beyond the limits of, I don't think the mainstream hardcore recruiting fan even realizes how hard they went after Cade Phillips and likely like what they made sure to do from an NIL perspective in order to get him. I have no idea what his number is, but I know in order to pull that kid away from LSU, that was an intense recruiting battle, and Texas was supremely motivated to get it done. And it was not, there was no home state discount on that one. Like, you do what you got to do sometimes to get the guys that you think are special. And that's what they think of Cade Phillips. I don't think they think there was anybody else in the class where there was a tie with, which is why at the end it was Fasusi, it was Phillips, and it was Justice Terry were the three guys that said, look, those dudes are just different. Mm-hmm. And those are the guys we feel like we have to have. And if we have to, because at the time, if you'll remember, there were guys like Javion Hilson, legit 5-star talent that was talking about Texas being one of his final schools. And it wasn't just him. There were a few guys like that where it was like Texas once was his leader and now they're maybe number 2. And what do we think is going to happen? And the week of signing day, like the message I kept getting back was Phillips, Terry, Fasusi. And it was like, well, all those dudes are committed elsewhere. And I was like, yep, the heist is to flip each of those guys away from schools that they're all, and Terry wasn't committed to Georgia at the time, but he had been previously committed. And, it was, and the thing about Justice Terry, I've said this week, people forget he wasn't even being mentioned by national experts as being interested in Texas. I can remember reaching out to Adam Gorney of Rivals. Nobody was reporting Texas with Terry, really. And I reached out to Adam Gorney and I was like, hey, man, just so you know, like I have a very good source at like Texas is pretty confident with Terry. I don't know if that means they're going to get him, but you guys aren't mentioning Texas with Terry at all. And I'm just letting you know, like the Texas people that I talk to think they have a puncher's chance at a minimum. And then he was like, oh, okay, good to know. And then suddenly they did a little bit more digging. It was like, oh, aha, Texas is in this thing. But a week before signing day, if you were clicking on Rivals or 24/7 or On3 or whatever, and you were reading about Justice Terry, Texas wasn't being positioned as anywhere close as the betting favorite. So, in the end, their close was incredible. If a Texas fan doesn't realize that getting Terry and Phillips at the finish line was an incredible thing, then they're just being ridiculous. And there are some Texas fans who are ridiculous, where it's like, why isn't there? We didn't get an offensive lineman, so like the class sucks.
Yeah. Well, the Fasusi thing ended up it cast a big shadow, and it's probably not fair to those guys. And as you mentioned, here's the heist idea. As cool as it would have been for a Texas fan to get all three, I do think, it's almost not that they missed the other two, but it's almost like the impact was different. Like if the discussion hadn't been about Fasusi at all, and if it had been, what would be incredible is if they got Terry and Phillips and just left it at, if it had just been that discussion at the beginning and they do it.
Because then it would have been like, that's going to give you the number 1 recruiting class in the country.
Right.
Like those commitments ultimately is what flipped the script. Like the number 1 class in the country doesn't happen without those things happening. But you're right. Like it's so Texas fan, I think too much. And look, I get it because the offensive line's a big need. Like everybody that follows the program has eyeballs. And they're like, look, we're lucky in a way that Trevor Goosby's as good as he is. Trevor Goosby last year was a redshirt freshman who was supposed to be a 3-year project, and kind of by a year and a half was good enough that he could have been a starter on arguably the nation's best offensive line. And I know there'll be Texas fans that scoff at that, but just tell me who had the better offensive line. Tell me who didn't get their ass kicked by Georgia, Ohio State, and Texas. Like, just let me know, because I don't know that it's been identified yet. I don't know that offensive line has been identified. So everybody's looking at the needs of 2025, and they know that the Kelvin Banks thing happened in 2022. The funny thing about Fasusi is I don't know that he automatically comes in and starts. Where Texas really needs the help is inside. And I don't think Fasusi's starting over Trevor Gooseby. Now, would he start in a battle over Brandon Baker? Maybe. But Brandon Baker's bigger. We know that Kyle Flood loves size. He's a 5-star talent himself, getting ready to go into year 2. You could make the case that Michael Fasusi does need a little bit more development before. And it's no slight to say that an offensive lineman needs a year or 2. Like, if I'm not mistaken, Dan Neal redshirted. Sometimes the great ones do. Earl Thomas redshirted, and that was stupid. But like sometimes guys get redshirted, which meant they only got 2 years of Earl Thomas instead of 3. It seems like that seems poor planning.
That seems important. Maybe.
But you know what I think about Phillips, and I think we know that Barron is moving on to the NFL. And we know that Muhammad returns, and we know that Kobe Black is next in line. The favorite, if you will. Don't dismiss the possibility that Cade Phillips could come in and be an immediate starter. I mean, that position battle will exist. And because that guy gets to be here for the spring, like he gets a chance to acclimate. And maybe it's too much too soon to maybe like a game 1. But, my expectations for Cade Phillips in year 1, he will absolutely play. I think he'll be in the rotation. And if he doesn't look like a future star, then they projected wrong on that guy. When the season starts, we should see that guy in the first game of the season and go, oh, well, that's why they thought he was that good. So I can't wait to see him in the spring because, again, I think he's going to be a guy that suddenly gets talked about a lot. And I think people are going to go, hey, he was a 5-star, but I don't really remember talking about him like that a whole lot. Why didn't we talk about him more like that? And, oh, yeah, we took him late from LSU. I must have been distracted by what wasn't happening with Fasusi, that whole we pulled a 5-star away from LSU at the finish line. That just a little bit like me at the beginning of the show.
Kind of a big deal maybe with Cade Phillips. We're talking about those updated rankings. Everybody's got the updated rankings out now for the 25 class. We have some chats reacting to that. If you want to throw us a super chat, it will go right to the top of the list. We've got buy or sell coming later on. For those of you wondering, it is Thursday. We do not have Brian Jones of CBS Sports on the show today, and there's a very simple reason why. Well, there's kind of 2 reasons why. He's probably tired of hearing from me, but
that's the biggest.
But the new baby has arrived.
Dude, when you said he was going to have a new baby, I thought, okay, well, so she's like in the first trimester.
As I recall, in the conversation with him, you got to understand, he and Anwar and I are talking, and I'm just like, I swear I kind of like blacked out once he said it. I'm like, I'm trying to process it all. But going back and looking through it, I believe the phrase any day now did pop out of his brain. So he did not inform us of this pregnancy until the pregnancy.
Look, it's his off-season break. Let him have it.
Yeah, last lap. So
because I am, you don't even want me on that show, Chad. Because I'm asking questions.
I know.
I'm asking important questions.
Yeah. No, it was a lot. It was a lot. There was a lot to unpack, and we could not quite unpack it all. So hopefully,
can I show you something?
Sure.
So I just want the audience to see what, like I feel like when Red Fox would call his son "you big dummy."
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm the big dummy, but I just want to this is what I was looking at. Okay.
Oh, I see. You're explaining yourself. Okay.
This is what I was seeing.
Yeah.
And it didn't, I just was looking at that on face value. And then I saw just stupidity, but you can see no Jonah Williams.
Oh, right. I see. So it goes from 13 to 7. It's like when pages of a book stick together.
Well, that's where the border hits on the tweet. So you have to click on the image to get the full expansion. I just want to like continue to explain myself that while I am your big dummy, while I am the big dummy, you know, it wasn't like I've just smoked so much Rogue Shop today that I'm incapable of operating at anywhere near normal capabilities. I just, you know, I'm never, the thing is that will bother me now for a decade. It'll be 20 years from now, and I will still be pissed at this episode.
Hey, as long as you brought it up, how much would you like to put a responsibility on Rogue Shop for what happened today?
Sometimes you wake up and you say, what do you want from the day? It's Thursday. I'll be honest, don't really want to work today. I've been working on like getting 1099 sent out and stuff. And then I'm like reminded like, oh yeah, that dickhead worked here at some point in 2025 and wished I hadn't paid him any money. And you start thinking about things, you know, and then Rogue just sounds great. It just does. It's like, well, do I want to take the edge off? Yeah. My shoulder's I have this thing, I have like a knot right here I've been working on for like a week. Will it make that feel better? Yeah. Will it make me sleep better later? All of it, just checking all the boxes. Scan that QR code. Check that box. So yeah, no, I participated in some Rogue. I do not have it near me. The show must go on without, you know, but yeah, I love Rogue Shop, Chad. I'm not going to lie.
I know you do.
Texas is home for legal CBD, THC, and more. I ain't got nowhere to go. All I'm doing is operating a mic. I am not operating heavy machinery. And I when I needed something to eat earlier today, I Grubhub that. So I'm good. I'm still good. Even if I cannot count from 13 to 17.
That's always the tough part for me. It's like you're rounding a corner towards 20, but you're not quite there yet.
I mean, I would have been better in a car than I was looking at that graphic.
Yeah. All right. Looks like we did get our first super chat of the day. It comes from James, $4.99. Catch the Yacht Rock doc was awesome. Great recommendation. Love me some Loggins and McDonald. Need a top 10 Loggins on 10 thoughts. So that's Loggins and then the Michael McDonald reference.
I did Michael McDonald this weekend and there wasn't a big reaction. And I almost did Loggins this weekend instead of McDonald. So now I'm kind of.
Yeah. I feel like you didn't do Kenny Loggins before?
No.
You've never done Loggins? Okay.
No, I've never did a McDonald deep dive. So I found some albums of his this week that I've never listened to a Kenny Loggins album. All I know are the Kenny Loggins hits.
Sure.
But he's got like some jewels out there. You know, some ballads. I'm looking forward to doing it. I will do a Loggins. I'm just saying, James. I did Michael McDonald this week and nobody got mad at me. Nobody was really telling me that I got the list order wrong. And I'm doing the wrong artists. If when it's over with, everybody's like, yeah, Kitch. Nailed it. I don't even want to comment now.
But
like,
see, okay, is that what's happening, Catch? Or are you just discovering that that's kind of what Yacht Rock does? It just mellows everybody out.
Sure.
Right?
It sounds like you're.
I'm saying based on is it a kind of music?
No, there's nothing
brings everyone together
that Orange Blood subscribers can't argue about.
Okay, fair enough. I'm just checking.
I've done a Hall & Oates list, and it's like, you're wrong. Rich Girl's got to be number one. And like
So you didn't have. There was no strong Michael McDonald opinions.
I did Steely Dan, and people are like, you don't even know what you're talking about. And I'm like, okay. That's what I want. Tell me my Steely Dan list sucks, but only tell me by showing me what you're because this is what pisses me off. Catch, your Steely Dan top 10 sucks. And I'm like, okay, well, hey, I'm not the biggest Steely Dan fan of all time. Like, I dig them, but like, let me see your Steely Dan list. And then they come out with a Steely Dan top 10, and 7 of the songs are exactly from my top 10 list. And it's like, well, My list sucks, but I only had 3 different songs. Yeah, can't have a top 10 list without those 3.
Okay. All right. So
I'm just saying, I was shocked.
Nobody fighting for the song from Running Scared to be higher, like Sweet
No.
Freedom, whatever it's called? No,
nobody. And
that would have been my fight. That's my favorite Michael McDonald song.
Your favorite Michael McDonald?
Is the one from Running Scared, because I'm like you. I haven't listened to a ton of Michael McDonald in my life. But when I think of him, that's what I think of. That song pops in my head. So, like, I'd love to see that one in the top 5. I think it was like 7 on your list, 7 or 8, somewhere in there.
I mean, look, I leaned in. First of all, I was a kid of the 80s and 80s TV syndication. And I've seen the What's Happening episode where the Doobie Brothers put on a concert and Rerun gets forced into recording the concert illegally with a tape recorder by a couple of like gangsters.
Uh-huh.
And then while he's dancing and celebrating to my number 1 song, well, my number 2 song, they're playing Taking It to the Streets. When the song is over, Rerun's giving him a standing ovation. And the Doobie Brothers gave him front row tickets. And the tape recorder falls out of his jacket. And like, that made me a Doobie Brothers fan. Like, that was my introduction to Michael McDonald.
Does Rerun go to jail? Spoiler alert.
He does not go to jail.
Okay.
But they made him feel really bad.
I bet they did. I've never seen that particular episode of What's Happening. James, thank you for the $4.99. And I do need to see the Yacht Rock.
You do. It is. It's pretty awesome. James is right.
Still have not seen it. Here's another super chat. It's $4.99 from Bryson. Buy or sell, Barnes plays his way into the linebacker rotation by the end of 2025.
I'm gonna. What does that mean? Like, this feels like, I know that's not a subjective question, but I think there are subjective interpretations. Let me lay it out for you. We know that Anthony Hill and Leonga Lafau are going to be your starters. We know that Ty Anthony Smith has kind of worked his way really quickly into a situational package guy. We know that Benda lost his job, his starting job, but that he was kind of a thumper that depended on the lineup. And they think they've replaced him with David Spence, the kid out of Arkansas, that I think is an upgrade of Benda, who I'm a fan of. So they essentially have everybody coming back. You would expect Lafau to be better in his second year as a starter, but you got to be careful. That doesn't always turn out to be the case. And he struggled at times in the final few games of the season. Ty Anthony Smith, I think you would have to think of as like an emerging player. And like they are bringing in Spence to do some things. Like, that's a guy that had 5 sacks last year for Arkansas. They think that he can be David Benda, but maybe with some more big play pop. So where does Bo Barnes get on the field there? Is he battling? And look, he could be a future first-round draft pick kind of player. So the talent isn't the issue. The issue, the good news is he's here for the spring. Yeah. So a little bit like Phillips, he does get to acclimate himself.
Bryson clarified for you. Playing in more than just garbage time by the end of the season.
Is that Alex? And I apologize if you had to pay for that. Thank you. I hope I'm giving you enough. Hey, Bryson, don't send another super chat, but answer this question. Was Alex January in the defensive tackle rotation at the end of the season? And does that count enough? 10 plays a game. Is 10 plays a game enough? I think Bo Barnes can get 10 plays a game.
Yeah, I would think so. And you've got a schedule that does not have like a soft game towards the end of it. So you're talking about Georgia, Arkansas, A&M. That's how the season ends. In those games, is he getting those kind? If he gets those kind of reps, I think that counts.
I wouldn't have thought that Anthony Hill was going to be a Mike linebacker, and then eventually, Lafau takes over that position, and they move Anthony Hill a little more off ball. Though they still play him in some Mike. Like, it's not like they don't have the positional versatility to move around and stuff. But just the way that, I don't know, when Anthony Hill, I thought they would use Anthony Hill more like a pseudo edge guy than they have. I thought he was more Sergio Kendall than Keenan Robinson. And I think Anthony Hill's been like a mixture of those two things. I still don't know that they use him as an edge guy like the way that I thought they would. Like, I don't know that they use Anthony Hill like Sergio Kendall. But they bring him all over the place.
Bryson, we appreciate you.
Okay.
Don't tell me what to do.
Well,
yes, that counts.
Don't leave any $49.99 super chats no matter what you do.
Yeah, thank you for that extra $5. We appreciate it.
Okay, if that counts, then yeah. I think the thing with me, and this will be really interesting to see in the spring, who's he competing with for reps next year? Is it him against Ty Anthony Smith? Is it him and LaFau? Is he the true backup to Anthony Hill, at which point, Anthony Hill's almost certainly going to go pro after next season, so you're grooming him, and his, Anthony Hill at times will come off the field. Is that where he's getting maybe a few reps when the season starts and you see a little bit more? I don't know. Where and how they use Barnes is my biggest question mark, because that will tell us who he's competing for snaps with. The thing we know about the linebacker position, though, next year is they basically return everybody that they used a year ago except for David Benda, and they think that they've upgraded that position with Spence.
Bryson, thank you for the not only the super chat, but the super chats that was sent in. If y'all want to send a super chat in, that's how it works. You throw in a little something into the old tip jar, it goes right to the top, and we do appreciate you. We also appreciate our great partners around here. Let's talk a little Hayes City Store. I'm still trying to make it happen. I'm trying to get my friends out to Hayes City Store. They said we want to go somewhere and hang out and have a good time and catch up and all that. I'm trying to get them to Hayes City Store because I've been craving that pork chop. I want to head right out to the new and improved Ice House. This is what they've done to it. Put that paneling on the back, more screens back there for you as well, so you can watch even more games when you head out. Kids, the weather is going to be awesome this weekend in Central Texas. Get yourself out to Driftwood. Get that reservation set early because people do love this place for very good reasons. Go have some of the best food and drink you have ever had in your life. Tell them we said, hey, here at Orange Bloods Live. Tell them this is where you heard about it. Hayes City Store. Go see them. You will not be disappointed. It is always good stuff out there. We'll see if I can get the crew out there right around Valentine's Day when they're trying to get together. Hopefully I can get them out to Hayes City Store. All right. I do not see additional super chats right now, but there were a couple chats.
By the way, I do think it is Muppets with Attitude.
Yeah.
And the album is Straight Outta Mayhem.
Okay. Which makes sense because that's the band's name, right?
It just so happens that I didn't even know that. Like, Mayhem is the name of the Muppet band?
The Electric Mayhem. Yeah, Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem.
I did not know that. You're just teaching me all kinds of Muppet stuff today.
God, of course. Now, do I partially know that because I've watched the Muppet movie in the last year? Well, yeah, because the anniversary came up, and my wife and I went and saw it in the theater.
I think I watched the Muppet Mayhem. I mean, the original Muppet movie, because I'm a Muppet Caper guy.
Okay, I love the Caper. Those are my two: the Muppet movie and the Muppet Caper. I like them.
But
both.
we couldn't get to the Caper until we got to the original Muppet movie.
Oh yeah.
So I've seen it in the last year, and it's disappointing that I have this shirt. Now I feel like such a poser.
Dude, it's such a great movie. When we were in the theater and when they're sitting out around the campfire and Dr. Teeth is reading the script of the movie, Exterior Desert Night. I just think it's so funny.
So just so that everybody knows, I do feel like this is, I told Chad this earlier. This is the most culturally appropriated idea in history.
It's so
People
great.
talk about appropriation.
Yeah. It's great and awful at the same time.
You're taking
like
the album cover for maybe the most infamous gangster rap album of all time.
Yeah.
I mean, if you weren't around when this album came out by NWA, let me tell you, people were scared.
The best thing that could ever happen, Catch, is that there would be a picture of Ice Cube's kid wearing that shirt.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Well,
right around
there's Ice Cube wearing it. He's like a granddad now.
maybe around the time the movie comes out. Yeah, maybe that's it. Like and I don't know if O'Shea's had a baby, but if it was like granddad, grandkid, and the dad, and they're all wearing that shirt, that would be great. That would be fantastic. All right, so there were some other chats here. Catch
We have another
recruiting
super
watch.
chat. You gotta go to the super chat.
There is a super chat. Oh, there it is. Look at there. And it's Bryson again. Look at Bryson. Thank you, Bryson. 1999. I think Barnes is more of a true middle backer than even Anthony Hill. So if that's where they see him, he won't be on the field much. Okay, I'll let y'all move on.
Maybe. Or he's better than Leon Galafal. Look, I think Leon Lafau is a really nice college football player. I don't think he's a future first-round draft pick. So now that doesn't mean I don't think he's going to play in the NFL. This is a lot more to do with what do we think of Barnes? Because if the On3 ranking and my ranking of him are correct, if he's the super blue chip, then in order for us to be right, that guy's got to be a first or second day draft pick. That's what that means. Like to really have hit on it. If you have a guy ranked 5th in the country and he ends up being drafted in the 5th round, you didn't get that right. You were right that he was really talented, but to put him in like the rarefied air is to project rarefied things. The only thing I'm saying about Barnes is the only guy on campus right now that fits that bill is Anthony Hill. And like Anthony Hill is one of those guys that pretty quickly it was like, you can't keep him off the field. If you can imagine that's what Anthony Hill looked like to the naked eye, they don't have 11 guys better than him. If Barnes is that guy in that realm, then there should be nobody on campus in theory that should be able to hold him off for the long term. So I'm interested to kind of see if he's a Mike linebacker, can LaFau hold him off for 12 months? Like if that is the position really, then I am not a believer that he's not starting in Columbus. LaFau will. But if the light switch comes on for Barnes early on and he's really as talented and physically gifted as we know he is, and it really projects to the college field, like, hey man, just like I said, don't be shocked if as much as I think Kobe Black is, or Malik Muhammad for that matter, are like really good players, Cade Phillips might be long-term better than all of them. And if you're talking about talents that are that good, I think you're being a little naive. And I'm not saying Bryson or anybody else is. I'm very generically saying if you look at these talents and assume that they can't get on the field for any reason, then you're missing the whole purpose of recruiting guys like this in the first place. These guys don't typically wait in line for anybody or anything. And that's what's exciting about Bo Barnes is he could be one of these talents that despite that, like they're not looking for portal help in the linebacker position now. They got it. They were able to kind of like for like replace Benda with Spence. And they think Spence has got more upside. So on a linebacker position group that was really good, that they think is going to be even better in 2025, it's exciting to think, well, you know what? It's possible that the best player is just now getting on campus. And from a ranking standpoint, remember, On3 didn't rank Anthony Hill as a 5-star. So On3 would tell you today that the most talented linebacker on campus is Bo Barnes. Now, that is not what any of the other 3 services would say. But someone's saying it, and, hey, if in a room full of 10 people, a woman told Chad, "You're the sexiest son of a bitch I have ever seen in my life. And if we weren't out in public, the things I would do to you." Man, it almost doesn't even matter about those other 9 women. For the rest of his life, he gets to walk around going, you know what? I was in this room once, and this woman told me I was the sexiest son of a bitch that she'd ever seen. And like she was ready to commit crimes on my body. Like he'd remember that forever. And so same principle. Like sometimes just someone saying something that nice about you counts for something.
I'd still be living in the corner of that room right now. I would try to find where that room is.
Oh, you'd be like,
Stay
Wendy,
in that room.
Wendy, ask me how my day was.
I would say, yeah, right, exactly. So, who did you talk to today?
Let me tell you. And
let
then
me tell-
every day he tells that story, like closer and closer, she ends up looking like
Oh yeah,
Rebecca De Mornay or something. Like you really have to pick like who is it? Who is it that I'm oh honey, you know how I like Ali Sheedy? She looked just like an in prime Ali Sheedy.
yeah. On that day, it would be that, and the next day it'd be Sierra. Like we would just skip around to different types of women. She looked like
Wendy's eyes would roll. Like, hey, speaking of room, you'd be at like a random Rooms to Go, and the guy would come over. Hey, can we help you? I'm Jim from Rooms to Go. Speaking of rooms, Jim, let me tell you a story about rooms.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I'll tell you about my favorite room. The best lighting in the world. I've tried to recreate it at my house a whole lot. If y'all want to throw in a super chat, just like Bryson did, it will go right to the top of the list. Bryson says now we can move on. Bryson, if you have some more super chats, we would be glad to do whatever you need us to do.
Hey, this is in the topic of like kind of talking about the big dogs in this year's recruiting class. Now that we have the final rankings, and look, let me just go back over this for a second because I butchered it like I was Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd and Spies Like Us, the doctors.
Mm-hmm.
You ever seen that movie?
That movie I have seen long time ago. Man, it's been a while, but I've seen it. Yeah.
Love me some Spies Like Us. If you ever never seen Spies Like Us,
yeah,
give that one a spin. So, from a 5-star standpoint, Jonah Williams ends up being the unanimous guy. But I think Lance Jackson, Khalid Lockett, Justice Terry, and Cade Phillips all end up being 3-time nominated 5 stars. So they're not unanimous, but that's a big number.
Yeah.
To have that,
right.
I call a consensus anything more than 2. When you're only talking about 4 major services, getting 2 of the 4 to call you an elite of the elite player, I think feels like a real big deal.
Yeah. And just to clarify, Catch, since you're mentioning it, somebody put this in earlier. Lockett is a unanimous super blue chip now. Would that be true?
I don't know. I haven't seen. Can that person tell me what rating did they give Lockett? It needs to be a 96 or above, and I haven't seen it. So I know he wasn't that high up in their last rankings, and I haven't seen anything yet from On3. Hold on. I'll go look and see. I've been asking people for the damn link and nobody could find it, but they might be at a point now where that's been released. So
gotcha.
Just keep on looking.
Yeah, because I saw, let's see, the last time I saw something, and again, I think I'm looking at an old list and it was up around 96, 97, something like that, but it may have changed.
The thing is, like Rivals does this too. Sometimes like Rivals will usually the way the Rivals schedule will work is on Monday, they'll do just the 5 stars. And then on Tuesday, they'll do the Rivals 250. And then on Wednesday, they kind of like do everything else. So it's Thursday and they released it. So I don't know. I don't know what On3's going for here. It might just be, it took them this long to get their rankings done. And like Thursday was the best day. It seems a little late in the weekend. I would imagine they'll have all of this out, but I still haven't seen it. So I'm looking. Nobody gave me a link. I'm actually going to On3 right now to see if I can freaking find. Oh, I see. Okay, here we go. Allegedly, this is updated. It says it's the final On3. So let me see. Where we got?
Okay.
They did. They got Bo Barnes at 32. He's the final 5-star. So let's count them out. Khalid Lockett came in at number 36. And obviously a super blue chip. He's a 97. So he is a unanimous super blue chip.
Gotcha.
On3 came to the party with regards to Khalid Lockett. And remember, I told you it's quite possible that the last couple of guys, I bet if we go and look at the bottom of On3's 5-star list, and I have not done this, so I could be way off. But my guess is there's some curveballs mixed in there that, for the reasons why I explained. They've got Smith Orogbo as a high 4-star, as a super blue chip. Now, they've had him as a super blue chip for a long time. They're On3 is the only network or rankings industry company that has Orogbo as a super blue chip. But they also have him near borderline 5-star territory. He would be one of those 11 guys that at least one ranking service said they're a super blue chip, but he did not hit a consensus with 2. They have Justice Terry at 40, which is the lowest that anybody has Justice Terry. But again, Justice Terry, almost a unanimous 5-star. He is a unanimous super blue chip. I'm just scrolling through here to see. Oh, Grayston Littleton, a cornerback that Texas got late in the recruiting process as well. They have him as a super blue chip. Now, hold on. This could be important. Nope, they're the only ones that have him as a super blue chip. I thought maybe somebody else had, but nope, I was wrong. Let me just finish my scrolling here. You guys bear with me. I'm literally looking at this in real time. So all this data is interesting to me.
Bryson, I see that you have another super chat in for us. We will get to it in just a second. Thank you.
And we're at the bottom of the 96s, I think. They got a bunch of guys ranked as 96s. Holy cow. They got more super blue chips this year than anybody. They've got 71 what I would call super blue chips. And I think that is all of them. So no Nick Townsend, no KJ Lacey, no Michael Terry in the On3 rankings for super blue chip status. All of those guys, Michael Terry ranked by ESPN, KJ Lacey ranked by Rivals. That one kind of surprised me. Nick Townsend by 24/7, Smith Orogbo by On3. All of those guys named by one service. Weirdly, all 4 of those guys named by a different service. So it means that Texas doesn't add any consensus super blue chips. I don't see Jamie. I didn't say Jamie French's name, did I? He ends up not being on the On3 list. So he's not a unanimous super blue chip. Cade Phillips is not a Justice Terry, Jonah Williams, Khalik Lockett. Those are your 3 unanimous super blue chips. And everybody else had versions of 3 out of 4. Lance Jackson, Cade Phillips, Jamie French. None of those guys end up being unanimous. All missing. Lance Jackson is missing ESPN. Cade Phillips was missing Rivals. Jamie French missing On3. Fascinating how all of that gets spread out. You know what I mean? It's not like there wasn't one company that either gave Texas one extra that nobody else did or took away one extra that nobody else did. Kind of just interesting how the math worked out the way the math works out. And for perspective, so Texas ends up with 6 consensus super blue chips. They had 5 a year ago. They had 6 the year before that. They had 2 the year before that. So we've reached a point really where in recruiting, every year Texas is pinging that from a consensus. Not, again, they've got 11 guys that have been named super blue chip by somebody. Consensus is really hard to hit. And, just for full transparency, these are the super blue chips consensus in the program. A year ago, it was Colin Simmons, Brandon Baker, again, expected to be a starter this year. Ryan Wingo, expected to be a starter this year. Kobe Black, I think, expected to be a starter this year. And then Xavier Filsaime, the one guy really in that group that I don't know what his role is for next season. The year before that, Arch Manning, Anthony Hill, CJ Baxter, Malik Muhammad, Derek Williams, Jelani McDonald. Not too shabby.
Yeah, that's a group right there. In fact, kind of speaking to that, Bryson jumped back in with another 1999. Thank you, Bryson. The fact that we're thinking a couple blue chip prospects may not see the field much as freshmen, man, how far we have come. First prayer every night is for the Lord to keep Sark safe and in Austin, LOL. So, Bryson, you've been praying for Sark to get better from whatever illness he had last week. Is that what you're saying? You've been praying. As soon as you heard that he was not able to show up at junior day, you've been praying and burning incense, and you got like a backlit proper like oil painting of Sark in your living room. Do you have that?
Well, and look, keep in mind, like now when we talk about talent deficiencies at Texas, it's such first of the first world problems. You know, you can look at that offensive line position and there is a glaring hole there. But, we've reached a point. We don't talk about edge anymore. Why? Because Texas is loaded at edge and they have 2 more seasons of Colin Simmons. And, their cup runneth over when a guy like Trey Moore comes back and Ethan Burke comes back and hopefully Colton Bassett gets healthy. But then you also, they're adding Lance Jackson and they've added even more weaponry along the defensive line. And, like Texas, the next thing for Sark is going to be winning. It's going to be what Ryan Day faced until you do it. At some point you reach a point, and the thing that they say about, well, does he make the playoffs every year? Because if he doesn't, he sucks. It's like, oh, well, no, he keeps doing that. Oh, well, yeah, but does he win? Well, no, he's won like some quarterfinal games and he won a couple of games this year. Has he ever won a Final Four game? No, not yet. Oh, that's his thing. He's a choker. Like the thing that will happen next for Sark is if one more time comes along and they can't crack through the semifinal barrier, then he'll get hit with the all-time worst nitpick of them all. He'll be that guy that we all concede is better than 99% of the people in the industry. But what can he do? He can't win the big game. And it's what they said about Mac Brown for a long time because he couldn't beat Florida State. And then he showed up and it was like, oh, suddenly he can't beat Oklahoma. Maybe he's not that guy. And then it happens and you're that guy and nobody ever says that about you before. And maybe that will never happen to Sark because maybe Arch will propel the program. But boy, you're really nitpicking Texas in the program and Sark, really nitpicking if where you look at where they are right now. And when you nitpick, you have to say out loud, I know it's a nitpick. You have to acknowledge that you're nitpicking. You can't sound like, let me get off my chest what my big bitch is about what Sark is doing. He's ruining. No, stop.
Yeah.
That's not what's happening.
Yeah. By the way, Paul has an idea for Bryson. Bryson, make sure you're sending some of those prayers towards Sark's red zone play calling.
And look, that's not going to go national, but that'll be the thing locally.
Yeah. Yeah, because sometimes you get a rep for certain things. Coaches, like you said, coaches get known for particular things in games, how far you have advanced in games. It just kind of becomes your rep. Hell, Cowboys just made the son of one of those guys a head coach. Go look up the history of the dad of the guy the Cowboys just made their head coach. Go look at his rep. That's his rep. His rep was only get so far. You're not going to win the biggest of games.
Chad, his name's not Brian anymore. He's the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
That is true. Head coach.
Hey, it's a good thing that I'm not obsessing over the Cowboys anymore, or I would have had 19 buy or sell questions centered around Stephen Jones using air quotes to describe the word drought.
It's a so-called drought, Catch. That is a so-called.
I'm so glad that I'm done being mad about those things because that would have put me on huge tilt.
Yeah. One of the weirdest things in life is when people use air quotes when they don't need to, right? Like, it's just kind of strange about, oh, yeah, we're going to go to the airport. Like, well, no, you're actually going to the airport. Why would you air quote airport? It's your headed there.
Man, we're gonna rewind the video and go back to my mistake.
Yeah, right. Like, come on. What are we talking about? That is bizarre. If you want to throw in the super chat, we will get those. There's a couple other chats we may hit before we are done. We're over the 1 o'clock hour. Again, no Brian Jones today. Brian is now in the off period for us and he just had a new baby arrive. So congratulations to Brian and the new baby. All right. So before we get to buy or sell and maybe a couple other chats here, let's take a breath for AV consultations. We'll let you see the spot with all the cool screens. And yeah, you'll hear that line at the end. Get ready.
Hi, this is Tom McKay, owner of Audiovisual Consultations. We've been providing custom electronic systems for Central Texas for more than 36 years. And
Old man, I think they all know who you are and what your company does. This is Camilla McKay. The old man believes in big fun and big ideas. He can make dreams come true, so why not dream big? I've been up in Boston, but I know the old man and all his friends and fellow radio heads have been spreading the holiday spirit here in Texas. Why should we stop there? Keep spreading the good feelings all over. Audiovisual Consultations carries all major brands of televisions and stereo equipment at prices you can't find in stores. And you don't have to leave your house. Just like Santa, they deliver the gifts to you.
yeah, I like that, kid. Throw a party, hang out with your friends, catch a concert.
That's all fun and good, but can we get back to the business? You can give us a call at 512-255-8678 or visit our website at avconsultations.com for some cool electronics.
Oh, now you're forgetting something.
And as always, hug your kids. We only pretend to be annoyed. Watch some games with
All righty, there you go. And that gave me time to see something on my phone, and it gave this person time to chat. Somebody chatted in. Can you talk about Justin Tucker? I am just in the last 10, 20 minutes seeing that something may be happening. Are you aware of this story at all, Catch?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay. Yeah, BB. I have not seen any detailed version of the story, but I will say that there is a story going around. It involves Justin Tucker, and it does not involve maybe some good things. Justin Tucker may be involved in a Deshaun Watson type of story. So we'll have to double check and see what's real and what's not. With that one,
According
but
to Yahoo Sports,
that does not.
Ravens kicker Justin Tucker has been accused of inappropriate behavior by 6 Baltimore area massage therapists, according to an investigation by the Baltimore Banner.
Okay, there you go. The Baltimore.
We had a super chat with that, with a what do we think about, or was that just a question?
Just that somebody was just like, can you talk about it? Somebody earlier had thrown it in. I just didn't want to mention it when it was a couple regular chats came in. But
I mean, it's not good.
No, it's
hope everybody involved, like, that no inappropriate behavior took place. And like, if Justin Tucker is found to have participated in some inappropriate behavior, like, then, like, he'll probably rightfully be suspended. And it would be for a guy that they're going to have kicker conversations about whether or not he's a Hall of Famer or not. It's the Earl Thomas. It's like, what's the last thing we remember about his career? And it would be, for Earl Thomas, was kind of the way he left. He just kind of got that shit crazy at the end. You wouldn't want Justin Tucker, who I think is probably a fringe Hall of Famer because he's a kicker. Like, this could be, if it turns out to be true. And look, like, I've literally just seen this 30 seconds ago. So
yeah, me too. I haven't seen him.
All I can tell you is that if true, it would be a really bad thing for him and potentially career ending. He wasn't great this year, so you don't want to be. It's like Bert Auburn, man, in that you don't want to ever end your year as a kicker not kicking well. And Justin Tucker didn't end the year kicking well. So you don't ever want to end your season not kicking well. And then in Tucker's case, doing something that, if the team were to need to look to move on, get rid of the contract, try to find somebody else. And now you're a guy on the street who's potentially, if any of this is true, potentially has a suspension coming his way. Like, it's all really complicated. But no, not a good thing for Justin Tucker. And again, here's hoping that none of it's true. And if it is, like, there will be consequences deserved at that.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. This is the first year of Justin's career where.
Can I just say something?
Sure.
I get massages all the time. I've had hundreds of massages in my lifetime. Seriously, that is not an exaggeration. The asking for the massage therapist, like, not, it's never. So you gotta be you have to be a real dick to like ask, hey, see this thing down here? I don't even know like what this spiel is. But guys, if you're out there watching and you're like, oh, these NFL, no, it is so wildly inappropriate. So don't do it. As someone that gets massages all the time, I promise you, you can do it without being inappropriate. It happens. It's true. 90 minutes every time. And never once have I been like, you know what? No fear whatsoever that there will ever be a story that comes out where it's like Jeff Ketchum, Houston, the Woodlands area massage therapists are all joining together because he did a bunch. No, never going to happen. I'm on the record. Keep this tape. I'm safe. I promise. And guys, follow my lead. Just go get your massage. Get your massage. It doesn't come with that. That's not what it comes with.
Two separate things. Two separate issues. Yeah. Not my world. Not my world. But they would seem to be pretty easy to keep things.
You need to get some massages, dude.
I may need to. We'll keep all the boundary lines where they need to be.
Trust me, they don't all. It's not how they go.
Yeah, let's be better there, guys. Especially if you're an elite level NFL player.
You never hear a woman arrested or investigated for this.
I've never heard of one. No, I'm also just baffled by the fact that you're that level of NFL player, and you might you're that level of NFL player. Whatever weird thing you think you want to get into, they can probably find it for you legally. You know what I mean? Like whatever it is you think you like or want or would like, I bet you it could be set up to where you're not having to do that. But I don't know. I'm not going to try to make sense of a nonsensical situation. We'll just see what comes out of that.
For all of the things in your life that you could ruin your life potentially over. And again, it's just an allegation. No arrests. Like, I don't know where this thing's going to go, but like at this point, we have to at least leave like territory for this to be like a money grab. Like, I don't know what it could be, but like, let's leave all sides open. But
if you're talking about, what'd you say, 4 or 6?
6.
I mean, that's,
how do they even that's a weird, how did that happen? Because usually, I don't know.
It also takes me back to one of the main questions I had in the Watson story. If you're an elite level NFL player, why is more than one person massaging you ever? Maybe 2, right? If you had like a special,
I would love to be able to find I don't even have a consensus. I did when I lived in Austin. I had I've been going from like place to place. I finally found this one place that does a pretty good massage, but I have no idea what the lady's name is. They don't even tell me.
Well, and I guess to be fair, since again, I'm not super familiar with that world, each time you go have a massage, is it normally a different person or do you request the same person?
I mean, it depends. Like when I used to go to El Rey way back in the day, right? I'm dating myself, but like 15, 16 years ago when we were working together and I would go there all the time. There were like 3 or 4 massage therapists that worked at that club. And then kind of like whatever I was in the mood for, there was like one massage therapist would do the thing where she kind of massaged you with your feet. And it was a good massage, but there were times where you're just like, I don't know that I want the spider monkey treatment today.
Right.
Like can you keep your feet on the ground and do it the old fashioned way? So there'd be then there were times we had a massage therapist, my wife and I did. She lived right down Anderson Mill. So she was like 7 minutes away and I would just go to her house. And that was pretty consistent, but then we don't live there anymore. So I lost my massage therapist. I don't have anybody consistent here, but I did find a place that the last 2 times I've been there, they've been really good massages, including like 10 days ago. Almost went in there earlier this week because like I said, I got this thing in my arm right here that's just been killing me. I'm flabbergasted by this story.
Yeah. And I guess it is. And now that I think it through, it is not that insane to think maybe that an NFL player would have been massaged by 6 different people.
Well, and where this would, if I were a creeper, like some people are like Deshaun Watson, right? It would be because one of my things is when I travel from city to city, I go to the spa and get a massage every time. Like I did it at SEC Media Days. Remember?
Yeah.
I think I skipped A&M. I think I skipped the Aggies. I didn't mean to. I in my head, they were going at a certain time, and I was like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna go do a spa day. I just didn't do that. And massage. But again, so where you would get me is like Jeff Ketchum traveled the United States at all of the various hotels that he stopped at. You'd never catch me. I'm all over the map. But no, like that's in my mind, that's where you would chalk up 30 massage therapists in a year or something like that. Well, you're just constantly traveling. So in every city, it's somebody different. But yeah, like I think I've got maybe a little something consistent going with this new place, but I don't know who they have not told me what her name is. They were like, oh, do you prefer a man or a woman? And I was like, a woman. And they're like, okay, well, we have to call her in. You can go like undress and get comfortable, and then she just comes in. So like she's almost like a ninja in the night. But I don't see her. All I hear is everything okay? You know, we get a little rough. And then at the end, it's like, okay, hour and a half's over. Bye. And then I never see a person again.
There you go. All right. We'll keep our eyes peeled on that story.
You know who I don't also see? The police.
Yeah, right. Investigative reporters. You don't see them. You don't see them around your massages.
I'm just telling you, it's a lot. If you're like, see, Chad doesn't get massages.
Yeah, I do not.
So he's like, in his mind, he's like, I don't know. Maybe it's really difficult to have your entire body touched and then to be unable to like solicit an offer at that point. And it's like, no, Chad, I'm here to tell you. No. You can do it.
Trust me, that's not.
You got self-control and restraint.
No, that's not the part that I'm confused about. There's other parts of it I'm confused about, not that part. It's the idea that 6 different human beings would agree to touch me for money or otherwise. That's the part that's got me a little confused.
Oh, man, for money, we can get 60 to touch you for money.
Well, all right. That's a different kind of parlor. All right. We got buy or sell coming up before we finish. Real quick, before we do that, shout out to Texas Card House. If you haven't been to TCH Social Austin, go check that place out, or one of their other great locations around the state. And if you are in the state of Texas and you want to play some online poker, don't forget about Hijack. You got a couple days left to use the OB20 code. Go to hijackpoker.com. Get the app on whatever device you like, and make sure you use the code OB20. It'll get you $20 in free play. Go get your online poker on. You can earn real cash, and you cash out at one of those Texas Card House locations. Thanks to them for their great partnership here at House Divided. Catch, anything else we need to hit before we buy or sell?
No, but like one day we just need to do an entire show in the off season on massage therapist stories, because I do have some of those.
You do have massage therapy stories.
On our honeymoon in Jamaica, we did a couples massage side by side.
Oh, you should tell that story at some point.
We both got sexually assaulted at the same time.
Off season.
And it's a hell of a thing when you're newlyweds. Like, what's going on over here?
And you're like, is this what they mean by honeymoon? Is this
stop kind of a thing? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Man. All right.
I've had bloody noses. I mean, I have massage therapist stories. I've never been investigated for like boorish behavior.
Damn, bloody noses. Okay.
Because they have you face down.
Oh, I see.
And your face is like, and so like if, you just get a little bit of a head rush or whatever, like you're just, the worst is when your nose is running. It's the worst. because they want your arms by your side. But if you've got a drip, nothing's worse than just the dribble down the nose and you can't wipe your face. It's the worst. It ruins a massage. Like, it just ruins a massage.
I am now sorry that this Justin Tucker story is out there for like 10 different reasons. Like, there's a lot of reasons that I'm now sorry that story is out there.
I'd call Heather in here. Heather, what do you remember about that massage in Jamaica?
We don't need to get y'all on the record today, but I feel like we may need an officer to be a part of the show
we should have sued that place.
Oh my God.
Now that I know that's a thing.
So do you want to go first or second here with buy or sell? Assuming you're ready to buy or sell.
I'll go second today.
Okay. Then that means we will start right here. Catch buy or sell number 1. Texas Hoops falls in Oxford last night. They will play 5 teams coming up that aren't currently ranked. OU, LSU, Arkansas, Georgia, South Carolina. They're going to play the Hogs twice. They got to go 4-2 or better in those 6 games
to make the tournament.
Sure.
What are the stakes?
Yeah. To make sure they're in the tournament field. Yes. I'm going to sell. I think they can go 3-3, but that would get them to 7 wins in conference play, right? Right. That's where I was trying to go to. I know we've been talking about the 7-11. They're 3-5 now after the loss. So they're going to
I think they'll win one of these games against a ranked team, which quite honestly will be more important. All of these other teams are kind of ranked somewhere between 35 and 65 in the RPI ish.
Exactly. So need 3 wins from this group and then find at least one more in a ranked game.
Yeah, and a lot of those games are road games. Those unranked games, they're trickier than you might just think on paper. The LSU game's a road game. They got to play Arkansas on the road. We know that won't be tricky. I'm pretty sure that South Carolina game is a road game as well. So it won't just be as simple as win your home game 50-50s. And I think that there will be some ups and downs. I think the goal this week was to win one of the 2 road games. So I look at Ole Miss and go, okay, well, that was the harder of the 2. Now they need to win this weekend. And I think they're on pace to be where they need to be. If they lose to LSU, though, we may be having that conversation again where after A&M, we thought that they were in, or at least on their way to being in. And then, they're so close to the line that if you lose a couple of games in a row, even if they're on the road, and I think LSU is going to be a dogfight. If I had to guess, I'd pick LSU to win that game, but Texas has been better on the road, so I wouldn't be completely dismissive of it. But, yeah, I'll say 3-3, so I will sell.
All right. Catch buy or sell number 2, back to football. Right now, your game 1, drive 1 plan at defensive tackle for Texas is a portal guy and Alex January.
Sell. It'll be one of the older guys from the portal.
Okay. It'll be
game 1, drive 1 plan for defensive tackle is, I would go 2 portal guys. I'm sorry.
2 portal guys. I got you. Okay. You're saying 2 of those guys out of the portal.
I wasn't thinking. Yeah. I was just thinking about Alex January in his position.
Gotcha. All right. We'll see where that is. By the way, I got 212 days till Texas and Ohio State as of today. All right, Catch. Buy or sell number 3. Let's go to a former Longhorn. Bijan is 23 years old today. He had 1,456 yards rushing in 2024. You think he'll have 2 1,500-plus seasons before he hangs them up?
Now, hold on. You're telling me he rushed for 1,456?
Correct.
I don't think that's right.
Okay. Double check me.
I'm double checking it.
Double check me. What did I see wrong?
Oh, you're right. Okay. I didn't think I thought that was like where he was all-purpose wise. I mean, all-purpose yards, he ends up with 1,887. You're saying before he hangs them up, 2 1,500-yard seasons? I'm going to sell.
Okay.
I just think he's with a dumpster fire of a team.
Yeah, that part's tough.
And I just never know that. I still don't think they use him correctly. Now, those numbers would indicate that they are, but I always feel like Bijan, and maybe this is good because at this point he's not used up through the first 2 seasons in a way that would have you think that he's like they've not used him like the Cowboys used DeMarco Murray, where at the end of it was like, oh, you guys are trying to send him to the glue factory. So maybe, but like I think it's more likely that he has one of those types of seasons, and then maybe a couple in the ballpark in the way that he was this season.
Yeah. By the way, to speak to your Atlanta comment, I was shocked that he had 1456 as well. I was like you. I was like, there's no way he would have had that much yardage. All right, Catch. Buy or sell number 4. I know you're an Oscar guy. You have now seen A Complete Unknown, and you think Chalamet has a shot at the Oscar.
Sell. I still haven't gone. It's really frustrating. I just the thing is, I can't take it's a rated R movie,
right?
So I can't take a kid to it. And right now, I get pigeonholed. Like when the family went to the last movie together, it was Moana 2.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I just haven't had an opportunity. And the other thing is, it's like my kid, like I thought last night about sneaking out and making up an excuse and going to a movie and just not telling anybody. Like sometimes I can just throw out, oh, there's like a Orange Bloods event at a place and I got to go. And, like once a year, I'll use that and cash that chip in where it's like, and I'll probably just go see a movie. It's like nothing sinister. It's like, what did you do while you said, I went and saw, what was it last year? Inevitably, it's always a movie that my wife wants to see that she's dragging her heels on. And I know we're going to miss it in the theater.
And you just go see it.
And I just go see it, but then I smoke so much pot that I forget that I saw that movie without her. And then inevitably a couple of months later, it'll be on streaming or something. And she'll be like, hey, let's watch whatever. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. I didn't really like that in the theater. It's like, what do you mean you didn't like? I haven't seen that in the theater. And I'll be like, no, yeah, you did. We went and saw that. And she'll be like, no, and then I'll do this thing where I argue with her about the movie that we went to go see, and then it turns out, no, that was the one. So, damn. I thought about it last night. I thought about, you know what? There's a thing I got to do, and then I'll just be back at like 9:30.
Yeah. All right, Catch. From one cultural discussion to another, buy or sell number 5. You will watch 1 hour plus of the Royal Rumble on Saturday.
Buy.
Okay.
But I did not know the Royal Rumble was on Saturday until you just said that.
Fair enough. By the way,
now that I know, like it sounds like the kind of thing that I'll put on my TV.
Yeah, I think just for those of you out there that might be interested too, like Catch, I think it's a 5:00 Central special start time. So double check that.
Is that a Peacock or a Netflix?
That's Peacock.
Okay, Netflix is just doing Raw.
Correct. Netflix has Raw. The pay-per-view stuff is on Peacock.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Why not?
There you go. All right, Catch. That's my 5. What do you got?
Buy or sell. Number 1, you will go get a massage sometime in the next 12 months, even if I have to buy it for you, and you'll be okay. You'll enjoy it. No problems, no questions, no arrest reports, no investigations.
Man, there's a lot in that. There would definitely be no investigations, but I will sell.
If I buy you a massage, you will not take the massage.
Not if I could get the money. If I could get you to put the money towards something else, I would sell that. Sorry. I can't. That's look, I have always looked at a massage as a bit of an extravagant thing. That is why I have never had one. I've never paid for one. I don't know. I don't think I could start now. But if you told me it had to be earmarked for it and you had to pay, then it would be a buy. There would be no issues. There'd be no problems. And I'd probably enjoy myself.
Next time I drive by a massage envy, I'll go, oh my God, so extravagant. Normal people, stay away.
I know. Sorry. I'm so sorry.
Has Wendy had a massage? You better not say no, or I will reach out to you know who, and I will facilitate a massage through a third party.
Honestly, I'm not sure.
You better get that woman a massage for Valentine's Day.
I am not sure if she's ever actually had like a professional massage. I'd have to ask her.
I'm mad at you now.
Oh, okay.
You've given your wife flowers, right?
Sure.
Candy.
Yeah.
So there are things that you will give your woman. You just won't give her a damn massage.
It's not that I won't. It
Sounds like won't is the right word.
I have not. But if she tells me that's what she's interested in, I would buy it for her.
She may not know how interested she is until they start working out the knots in her shoulders.
You might be
You're
right.
like, oh my God, this is a little slice of heaven. How have I never had this before? I will not stay married unless I'm in a relationship where the man will let me have a massage.
Yes, I will check. I will check with you and see. I'll get back to you on that one. I'll let you know.
I'm just telling you, get it done, or you know who I'm reaching out to.
God, I'm on
It
such
is
a
a
run.
person in your life that I know is opinionated enough that she will just do what, just out of principle, she might take action.
Yeah, I am on such a run of disappointing you. I feel so bad right now.
Buy or sell number 2. You'll watch the Royal Rumble from beginning to end. No skipping ahead.
That's probably a sell because it's me.
Yeah.
There's a chance, but with that technology now where I can start after it starts and then sort of be catching up to certain things. Each of those Royal Rumble matches, I will probably just let those go and watch them. Because I'm going to see if I can get my daughter to watch the women's Royal Rumble because she's a huge Rhea Ripley fan. But in totality, there's a little bit I'll try to fast forward through. So I'll sell.
Buy or sell number 3. This whole Caitlin Clark thing. You know what I'm talking about, right? She's got a thing like.
Yeah, I'm vaguely aware of it. The whole All-Star game thing you're talking about.
No, not specific. There's just like a Caitlin Clark thing. And my question is, the Caitlin Clark hype thing, excitement, it carries on for another 12 months into 2026.
I'll buy and say it's got another year in it. Now, by the end of that first WNBA season, my wife did stop telling me when the Indiana Fever played. I will.
They haven't started playing up again, though.
No, I'm saying, but as that season went on, it got less and less mentions. I'm guessing she'll be interested again. I'll say there's one more season of it. Yeah, I'll buy.
Buy or sell number 4. You think the Cowboys will go under 500 in Brian Schottenheimer's first season in Dallas if Dak Prescott stays healthy?
So
you're getting Dak the whole season.
Right. Okay. So 8-9 or worse. I'll sell. You got a 17th game. I'll say it's 9-8. Catch. 9-8 winning season. That's how
is the hopeless romantic in you.
That's how Mike Tomlin has kept clawing at that one record, right? Because he's never had the losing record. 9-8 still counts now as a non-losing record. So I will sell.
Buy or sell number 5. Ethan Hawke as an actor. Buy or sell?
Oh, just in general. Okay. Buyers. I'm a buy. I like Ethan Hawke as an actor.
You like Ethan Hawke?
Never had an issue with Ethan Hawke. I finally saw Reality Bites a few years ago where I hadn't seen it on its original run, but it was good. I've probably seen him in a handful of stuff, but I saw him Training Day. He was good.
He's great in Training Day.
Yeah. I'll buy. I like Ethan Hawke. How about you?
I do too. I just don't know where I rank him.
Now that's a different discussion.
I don't know who he is in the pantheon of actors.
Yeah. Is he elite of the elite? No.
Nobody would say elite of the elite, but where does he rank in his generation's group of leading men? He's in so many like Gen X cult classics.
I think he is kind of like, I don't know why this guy just popped into my head. Maybe it's because they sort of look alike. But back in the day, Catch, when I knew Emilio Estevez was in a movie, I looked forward to him being in the movie. I thought he would do a good job. I didn't think he would have been cast inappropriately. I just thought it was going to work. And it usually did. That's what I think of when I see Ethan Hawke's in a movie. This is going to work. I will be entertained. He's going to do a great job. And, you know, is he going to be the absolute no doubt best thing in the movie? Not necessarily, but I'm going to be really glad he was there. That's who Ethan Hawke is for me. So one of the best supporting actors that I could hope for is that. I'm not trying to insult him by saying that.
I don't think of him as like a supporting guy per se. I think of him as like from the mid 90s until Training Day, you know, he was just in a certain kind of movie. I don't know. I don't know. I'm telling you, that's why I asked the question. I don't know where he fits. I don't think he's Emilio Estevez. But I don't know the counterpoint to that. It's almost like, is he a less hot Ryan Gosling? This generation's like,
is he poor man's Leo?
No. Again, I need some time to think about it. Anyway, I found myself watching Before Sunset last night because I'd only seen Before Sunrise. So I'd never seen the sequel to Before Sunrise.
Okay.
Then I watched Before Sunset, and then I was like, oh, there's apparently it's a trilogy. So now I'm watching Before Midnight.
Okay.
And he's the lead in all these movies. They're really good.
Cool.
So I was just like, you know, I'm weighing the Ethan Hawke thing in my head.
Yeah. No, I dig Ethan Hawke. He's good. And what was the one, what was that one long form movie a couple years ago? Just a Boy, Like a Boy, About a Boy with him.
About a Boy has Hugh Grant.
Yeah, it was the one. Was it Linklater that directed that movie? Him. Boyhood. I knew the word boy was in it somewhere.
Boyhood's great, and he's in like 9 Linklater movies.
He was really good he was really, really good in that one. Yeah, I didn't want to. Yeah, and he is a great leading man. I don't mean it to mean he's like, you know, the 5th or 6th guy down the line. I'm just saying, if you give me the trailer and I see him, I'm leaning in. Like I'm excited that he's there. I always like Ethan Hawke.
Okay.
And Reality Bites was good. That one lived up to it. I had not seen that one when I should have. Let's see. What is Matt with a Cowboys fan thought? In true Cowboys fashion, they'll go above 500 handily and lose to the lowest seed first round of the playoffs.
Am I giving Ethan Hawke enough love if I ask he was the next generation's Eric Stoltz? Eric Stoltz was almost in Back to the Future. So like once upon a time, he was in Some Kind of Wonderful.
Yeah, I think I don't know.
Thing for a little bit.
Ethan's a little grittier, a little grimier than that. But
Eric Stoltz does Pulp Fiction as the drug dealer. Like I asked that because I thought to myself, Ethan Hawke could have been the drug dealer that sells Travolta the heroin. No doubt about it. No doubt. He might have been too young for that part, but Ethan Hawke, the actor in his prime, can absolutely play that part and would have killed it.
Yeah, I forgot about this one too. This is one of my favorite movies. Yeah, Dead Poets Society. Ethan's great in that movie.
He is great in that movie.
Good call, Rex.
Do I need to do an Ethan Hawke top 10? Is he big enough that I can do a top 10 this week?
Yeah, I don't know. Do an Ethan Hawke top 10 and see if you get more or less reaction than you did from Michael McDonald.
It seems like that's not what I want to go for.
No.
I need to do the Beatles this week just to get a strong reaction bounce back after this past week.
You can go like Beatles, Stones, or Zeppelin just to go, or hey, be real topical. Go Taylor Swift and see if anybody, they may actually not.
I did that a year ago. Otherwise, I would. I did her and Miley back-to-back weeks just to fuck with people.
That'll do it. Yeah, that'll do it. I have seen this movie, Gattaca. That's a good Ethan Hawke.
He's been in a million things. It's not like let's name the movies that Ethan. He's done like 60.
He's been a lot. No, he has been in a lot of stuff. That is true. All right, Catch. Anything else? Just a couple of these are the only chats I had marked. They're just quick ones. Jay said, I was shocked Justice Terry wasn't a 5-star. I think we were the same way, Jay, that he didn't end up as a 5-star on everybody's list. And then Blake says, Catch is right about Jonah. There's absolutely no way he's not a top 10 player in this class. Maybe that's the way we'll head out, Catch. Does every recruiting service agree that the highest ranked member of this Longhorn class is Jonah Williams? Do they all at least agree on that part?
I don't think so.
That as you head down their lists from 1, the first Longhorn guy you hit is Jonah.
I don't think so.
No? Okay.
I mean, hold on. I don't have it gridded that way, but just give me a sec. So he was the high. No, he's not even the highest in on 3. They have Lance Jackson at number 5. It feels like on 3 has been having a battle with me the entire recruiting cycle to see who could claim Lance Jackson the most.
And in the end, they really took a shot at the end.
Hey, man, they ranked him higher than Decorian Moore.
Wow. Now that's being in the club right there. That is fan club stuff.
And when you look at on 3's rankings, their highest ranking, so they have 100, which they gave to Bryce Underwood, who Michigan takes, right?
Right.
They've got Keelan Russell, Elijah Griffin, a defensive lineman that goes to Georgia, D-tackle. They got this offensive lineman, Will Black, to Notre Dame. And then they've got Lance Jackson and Decorian Moore. Those are the only players that they have 5 other guys. They have 1 guy at 100, 5 guys at 99. So they have Jackson and Moore both ranked with 99s, but Jackson 1 spot ahead of Decorian Moore. And I got to be honest. Okay, on 3, you win.
You give?
You win.
Uncle?
Because I've not done I'm going to release my final Lone Star recruiting list probably on Monday or Tuesday, right before signing day. Decorian Moore is going to be, I'm going to be the only person that doesn't have Keelan Russell number 1. I think that's bananas. I'm sorry. Decorian Moore is the best player prospect on that team. And I understand that Keelan Russell is a quarterback and I understand the value. If you're asking me which one of those dudes is going to be a first-round draft pick in the 2029 draft, it's going to be Decorian Moore. So,
yeah. So there you go.
There you go. I'm going to be different too on 3, but I'm not going to have Lance Jackson in front of Decorian Moore. Apparently, I'm going to have the white-hot scorching take that Decorian Moore is the best prospect in this class.
There you go. And you got your question answered right there. Late chat just came in. Do you agree Jackson's a better prospect than Moore? He just told you he did not. There you go. There it is.
Technically, they think they're equally the same. They have them both ranked as a 99, and they had to pick in order. But I'm telling you, I think Decorian Moore is a 6-star. I think Lance Jackson is a 5-star. And on 3 is essentially saying they think both are 6 stars. Because they have them rated exactly the same. They just have Lance Jackson ranked 1 spot above Decorian Moore, but their ranking is the same. It's not like Lance Jackson is 99.2 and Decorian Moore is 99.15.
Gotcha. All right. All right. Thank you for the last couple chats there. Anything else, Catch, before we close up?
No, man. We've been going for a while. I'm ready.
Thank y'all for liking and subscribing and getting those notifications. We appreciate it. One quick note, no football with friends this evening. The guys are traveling back from covering the Senior Bowl, which if you didn't know, Senior Bowl is Saturday at 1:30 on NFL Network. 88 is part of that one. Baron Sorrell is a part of that. Shrine Bowl is tonight at 7 on NFL Network, and no Longhorns at this point involved in the Shrine Bowl based on who is, working out. But if you need to scratch the itch, NFL Network tonight and Saturday afternoon for those bowl games. Anwar will have the old fashioned for you tomorrow at 9 a.m. And we'll be back for a Friday edition tomorrow at noon. Until then, y'all take care. We are House